Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the English Podcast Classroom. I'm your host, and I'm absolutely thrilled that you've joined me today. Whether you're listening while drinking your morning coffee, taking a walk, or maybe even practicing your English during your lunch break, welcome. You are exactly where you need to be. Today, we're going to talk about something that can change your life. Yes, you heard that right. Change your life. We're diving deep into English for job interviews. And I know, just hearing the words job interview might make your heart beat a little faster. Maybe you're thinking, oh no, interviews are so scary. But here's the thing. By the end of this episode, you're going to feel so much more confident about interviews in English. I want you to imagine this. You walk into that interview room, you shake hands with confidence, you answer questions clearly, and you leave knowing that you did your absolute best. That's what we're working toward today, and I'm here to help you get there, step by step. So grab a notebook if you can, because we're going to cover some really practical, useful phrases and strategies that you can start using right away. And remember, learning English is a journey, not a race. Every small step you take is progress, and I'm so proud of you for being here and working on improving your English skills. Are you ready? Let's dive in. You know, I get messages from listeners all around the world, and one of the most common questions I hear is this. I can speak English pretty well with my friends, but job interviews feel completely different. Why is that? And that's such a smart question. Job interviews in English can feel challenging for a few really important reasons. First, interviews use formal English. It's different from the casual English you might use with friends or even in everyday conversations. Second, there's pressure. When we feel nervous, sometimes our English feels like it disappears, right? Even native speakers feel this way sometimes. But here's why mastering English for job interviews is so incredibly important. And this might surprise you. It's not just about getting the job, although that's obviously important too. When you can express yourself clearly and confidently in English during an interview, you're showing so much more than just language skills. You're showing that you can communicate under pressure. You're demonstrating that you can think clearly and organize your thoughts. You're proving that you can be professional and articulate. These are all skills that employers value incredibly highly, no matter what job you're applying for. Think about it this way. An interview is really just a conversation. It's a conversation where someone wants to get to know you better and understand how you can help their company. When you have the right English tools, you can tell your story powerfully. You can share your experiences, your skills, and your dreams in a way that really connects with people. And let me tell you something that might make you feel better. Every single person who has ever gotten a job went through an interview first. That means millions and millions of people have sat in that same chair, feeling nervous, wanting to do well. You're not alone in this experience. The beautiful thing about English is that you don't need to be perfect to be effective. You need to be clear, you need to be confident, and you need to be authentic. And that's exactly what we're going to work on today. So whether you're looking for your very first job, changing careers, or maybe applying for a promotion, the English skills we're going to learn today will serve you well. These aren't just interview skills. They're life skills that will help you communicate better in professional situations for years to come. All right, let's start building your job interview vocabulary toolkit. Think of these words and phrases as your secret weapons. When you know them well, you'll feel so much more prepared and confident. Let's begin with some essential job interview vocabulary. I'm going to say each word clearly, and I want you to repeat after me if you can. Don't worry about getting it perfect. Just practice. Professional background words. Experience. That's your work history. Qualifications. Education, certificates, and skills. Achievements. Things you've accomplished or succeeded at. Responsibilities. Tasks and duties you had in previous jobs. Strengths. Things you're really good at. Skills, abilities you have learned. Now let's learn some powerful phrases that will make you sound professional and confident. For talking about your experience, I have 3 years of experience in my previous role, I was responsible for, I successfully managed, I developed skills in, one of my key achievements was, for talking about your strengths, I'm particularly good at, my greatest strength is, I excel at, excel means you're really, really good at something. I'm known for being, I pride myself on, this means you're proud of this quality. For showing enthusiasm, I'm excited about the opportunity to, I'm passionate about. Passionate means you really care about something. I'm eager to, eager means you really want to do something. I look forward to, I'm motivated by. Motivated means something gives you energy and drive. For asking good questions. Could you tell me more about what would a typical day look like in this position? What are the biggest challenges facing the team right now? What opportunities are there for professional development? What do you enjoy most about working here? Here's a pro tip from the English Podcast Classroom. Practice these phrases out loud. Say them while you're cooking, while you're walking, while you're getting ready in the morning. The more you practice, the more natural they'll feel when you need them. And remember, you don't need to memorize every single phrase perfectly. Choose 3 or 4 that feel most natural to you and practice those until they become automatic. Quality over quantity, always. Transition phrases. These help you move smoothly from one idea to another. Additionally means also, but sounds more professional. Furthermore means in addition to that. For example, or for instance, as a result shows cause and effect. In my experience, these transition phrases are like bridges. They help connect your ideas and make your answers flow smoothly. Native speakers use these all the time, and when you use them too, you'll sound much more fluent and professional. Now we're getting to the really practical stuff. Let's go through the most common interview questions you're likely to hear, and I'll give you some model answers. Remember, these are examples. You should adapt them to your own experience and personality. Question 1. Tell me about yourself. This is probably the most common interview question in the world. And here's the secret. They're not asking for your life story. They want to know about your professional background and why you're interested in this job. Here's a model answer. Hello, my name is your name. I have been working in marketing for the past 4 years. In my current position at ABC Company, I manage social media campaigns and work closely with our sales team. I'm particularly passionate about creating content that connects with customers. I'm excited about this opportunity because I would love to bring my creativity and experience to a larger company like yours. Notice how this answer has 3 parts: who you are, what you do now, and why you want this job. Simple, clear, and effective. Question 2. What are your greatest strengths? Don't be shy here. This is your moment to shine. Choose 1 or 2 strengths and give specific examples. Model answer. I would say my greatest strength is my ability to solve problems creatively. For example, in my last job, our team was struggling with customer complaints. I suggested creating a new feedback system that made it easier for customers to share their concerns. As a result, our customer satisfaction scores improved by 30% in just 6 months. See how I didn't just say, I'm good at problem solving. I gave a specific example with results. That's what makes your answer memorable and convincing. Question 3. What is your biggest weakness? Oh, this question. Everyone worries about this one. Here's the strategy. Choose a real weakness, but show how you're working to improve it. Model answer: I sometimes focus too much on details, which can slow me down when working on projects. However, I've been learning to balance attention to detail with efficiency. Now, I set time limits for myself when reviewing work, and I ask colleagues to check my progress. This has helped me complete projects faster while still maintaining quality. Question 4. Why do you want this job? This is where you show your enthusiasm and research about the company. Model answer: I'm very interested in this position because it combines my passion for customer service with my technical skills. I've researched your company and I admire your commitment to innovation and customer satisfaction. I believe my experience in handling customer inquiries and my knowledge of your software would allow me to contribute meaningfully to your team from day one. Question 6. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? They want to know about your goals and whether you're likely to stay with the company. Model answer: in 5 years, I see myself having grown significantly in my professional skills and taking on more leadership responsibilities. I hope to have learned new technologies and contributed to successful projects. Ideally, I would like to mentor newer team members and help the company achieve its goals. I'm looking for a role where I can build a long-term career, and this position seems like the perfect fit for that vision. Question 7. Do you have any questions for us? Always have questions. It shows you're genuinely interested. Here are some safe, smart questions. What does success look like in this position? Can you describe the team I would be working with? What are the biggest challenges facing the department right now? What opportunities are there for professional development? Here's something really important to remember. Your answers don't have to be perfect. They need to be honest, clear, and show your personality. Interviewers want to hire real people, not robots who give perfect textbook answers. Practice these questions with a friend, in front of a mirror, or even while talking to yourself. The more you practice, the more natural your answers will become. And remember, every person interviewing you wants you to succeed. They're hoping you'll be the right person for the job. Tips for sounding confident. Now let's talk about something that goes beyond just the words you say. Let's talk about how you say them. Confidence in an interview isn't just about knowing the right answers. It's about how you present yourself. Voice and speaking tips. First, let's talk about your voice. When we're nervous, we often speak too fast or too quietly. Here's what I want you to remember. Slow down. It's much better to speak slowly and clearly than to rush through your answers. If you're not sure about a word, take your time with it. Practice this with me. I am confident and capable. Say it slowly with a pause in between each word. I am confident and capable. Feel how much more powerful that sounds than rushing through it? Also, don't be afraid of short pauses. If you need a moment to think, you can say, "That's a great question. Let me think about that for a moment." This actually makes you sound more thoughtful, not less prepared. Body language that shows confidence. Even though this is an audio podcast, many of you will have video interviews. So let's talk about body language. Sit up straight. This actually helps your voice sound stronger too. Make eye contact with your interviewer. If it's a video call, look at the camera, not at the screen. I know it feels weird at first, but it makes a huge difference. Keep your hands visible and use gentle gestures when you speak. This makes you appear open and honest. And here's a little secret. Smile. Even if you're nervous, smiling actually changes how your voice sounds. People can hear a smile through your voice, even on the phone. Dealing with difficult questions. What happens when you don't know how to answer a question? First, don't panic. It's completely normal. Here are some phrases that can help you. That's an interesting question. Could you give me a moment to consider it? I haven't encountered that exact situation, but I think I would approach it by,
I'm not familiar with that specific term. Could you explain it a bit more? I don't have direct experience with that, but I'm eager to learn more about it. See how honest these answers are? Honesty is always better than trying to fake knowledge you don't have. Managing your nerves. Let's be real. Interviews can be nerve-wracking, but your nerves don't have to control you. Here's what you can do. Before the interview, practice deep breathing. Take a deep breath in for 4 counts, hold it for 4 counts, then breathe out for 4 counts. This actually calms your nervous system.
Remind yourself that the interviewer is just another person. They're not trying to trick you or catch you making mistakes. They want to find someone great for the job, and that could be you. Power phrases for confidence. These phrases can make you sound more confident and professional. Instead of "I think," try "I believe," or "in my experience." Instead of "I don't know," try "I haven't encountered that situation, but..." Instead of "maybe," try "I would suggest," or "my approach would be." The magic of preparation. Here's something that will boost your confidence more than anything else. Preparation. When you know you've prepared well, you naturally feel more confident. Research the company. Practice your answers. Think about examples from your experience that show your skills. But don't over-prepare to the point where you sound like a robot. The goal is to be prepared enough that you can be relaxed and natural. Your mindset matters. And finally, let's talk about your mindset. Instead of thinking, "I hope they like me," try thinking, "I'm here to see if this job is a good fit for both of us." This small shift makes you feel more empowered and less desperate. Remember, you have value to offer. You have skills, experiences, and perspectives that could benefit their company. The interview is your chance to share those gifts. Mini practice activity. All right, my amazing listeners, it's time for some practice. This is where the magic happens. I'm going to give you a mini role play activity that you can do right now wherever you're listening to this episode of the English Podcast Classroom. Practice activity. The 60-second introduction. I want you to prepare a 60-second answer to "Tell me about yourself." This is perfect practice because it's short enough that you won't get overwhelmed, but long enough to be complete. Here's the structure I want you to follow. Your name and current situation, 10 to 15 seconds. Your relevant experience or skills, 30 to 35 seconds. Why you're interested in new opportunities, 10 to 15 seconds. Let me give you an example first, and then you can create your own. Hello, my name is Maria, and I currently work as a customer service representative at a local bank. Over the past 2 years, I've developed strong communication skills and learned to handle difficult situations with patience and professionalism. I've helped over 50 customers per day resolve their banking questions and concerns. I'm looking for new opportunities because I want to grow my career and use my people skills in a larger, more international environment. See how that worked? It was clear, specific, and showed both experience and ambition. Now, here's what I want you to do. Pause this episode for a few minutes and practice your own 60-second introduction. Say it out loud. I know it might feel silly, but speaking out loud is so different from just thinking about the words. If you're somewhere where you can't speak out loud, maybe you're on a bus or in a library, that's okay. You can whisper or even just mouth the words. The important thing is to practice moving your mouth and forming the words. Practice questions for you. After you've worked on your introduction, try these questions. For each one, aim for a 30 to 45-second answer. What interests you about this company? Describe a challenge you've overcome. What are your career goals?
Remember, there are no perfect answers to these questions. The goal is to communicate clearly and show your personality. Building your confidence. Here's something I want you to try this week. Practice one interview question every day. Just one. You can do it while you're getting ready in the morning or before you go to bed. Make it part of your daily English practice routine. And here's a bonus tip. Record yourself. I know. Most people hate hearing their own voice, but recording yourself answering interview questions is one of the best ways to improve. You'll notice things like speaking too fast or using too much, or maybe not speaking loudly enough. These are all easy things to fix once you're aware of them. If you have a friend who's also learning English, practice together. You can take turns being the interviewer and the job candidate. It's fun, it's helpful, and you're both improving your English at the same time. Building your professional vocabulary. Let's expand your professional English vocabulary even more. These words will help you sound polished and professional in any interview situation. Words to describe your work style. Reliable. You can be counted on to do good work. Detail-oriented. You pay attention to small, important things. Collaborative. You work well with others. Proactive. You take action before problems happen. Adaptable. You can adjust when situations change. Efficient. You get things done well and quickly. Practice using these in sentences. I am very reliable. In my last job, I never missed a deadline. I'm detail-oriented, which helps me catch mistakes before they become problems. Action words for describing your achievements. Managed. You were in charge of something. Developed. You created or improved something. Increased. You made something bigger or better. Reduced. You made something smaller, like costs or time. Implemented. You put a plan into action. Coordinated. You organized people or activities. These action words make your accomplishments sound more impressive. I managed a team of 5 people. I developed a new training program for new employees. I increased sales by 20%. Phrases for showing interest. I'm particularly interested in. What excites me most about this role is. I'm drawn to this position because. I'm enthusiastic about the opportunity to. Professional ways to ask for clarification. Sometimes you might not understand a question perfectly. That's completely normal. Here's how to ask for help professionally. Could you please repeat that question? I want to make sure I understand correctly. Are you asking about? Just to clarify, when you say word, do you mean? That's an interesting question. Could you give me a specific example of what you're looking for?
Ending strong. Thank you for taking the time to interview me today. I'm very interested in this position and look forward to hearing from you. Is there anything else you'd like to know about my background? I appreciate the opportunity to learn more about this role. The key to using all of this vocabulary effectively is practice and authenticity. Don't try to use words that don't feel natural to you. It's better to use simpler words confidently than complex words uncertainly. Handling challenging situations. Let's be honest, not every interview question is easy, and not every interview goes perfectly. That's totally normal. What matters is how you handle the challenging moments. This is where you can really show your professionalism and grace under pressure. When you don't understand a question, this happens to everyone, including native English speakers. Here's how to handle it gracefully. I want to make sure I give you the best answer possible. Could you please rephrase that question? Or, I'm not quite understand what you're looking for. Could you give me an example? Never pretend to understand something you don't. Asking for clarification shows intelligence and honesty,
not weakness. When you make a grammar mistake, here's some good news. Small grammar mistakes usually don't matter in interviews. Employers care much more about your ideas and your ability to communicate clearly than perfect grammar. If you notice you've made a mistake, you can simply correct it quickly and move on. Sorry, I meant to say I have worked there for 3 years. Then continue with your answer. Don't spend 5 minutes apologizing for one small mistake. When you need time to think. Sometimes you need a moment to organize your thoughts. That's perfectly okay. Here are some professional ways to buy yourself some thinking time. That's a thoughtful question. Let me consider that for a moment. Or, let me think about the best example to share with you. I want to give you a complete answer to that. Give me just a second to organize my thoughts. When you don't have direct experience, what if they ask about something you've never done? Don't panic. Focus on related skills or your willingness to learn. I haven't worked with that specific software, but I have experience with similar programs like, an example, I'm a quick learner and would be excited to develop skills in this new area. Or, while I haven't had that exact responsibility, I have experience in a related area, which I believe would transfer well to this role. Dealing with salary questions. Money questions can feel awkward, but they're a normal part of the interview process. If asked about salary expectations, I'm more interested in finding the right fit for my skills and career goals. Could you share the salary range for this position? Or, based on my research and experience, I believe a fair range would be amount. However, I'm open to discussing this based on the complete benefits package. When the interview isn't going well. Sometimes you might feel like the interview isn't going as well as you hoped. Maybe you gave an answer that didn't come out right, or maybe the interviewer seems distracted. Remember, you can't control everything, but you can control your attitude. Stay positive. Keep being professional, and remember that your perception might not match reality. Sometimes interviews that feel difficult to you are actually going better than you think. Cultural tips for English-speaking work environments. Let's talk about some cultural aspects of interviewing in English-speaking countries. Understanding these unwritten rules can really help you make a great impression. The importance of small talk. In many English-speaking cultures, interviews often begin with a few minutes of small talk. This might feel strange if you're from a culture that gets straight to business, but it's completely normal. The interviewer might ask about your journey to the office, the weather, or how you're doing. This isn't just being polite, it's actually part of the interview. They're seeing how you interact in casual conversation. Keep it brief and positive. The trip here was fine, thank you for asking. Or, I'm doing well, thank you. I'm excited to be here. Eye contact and personal space. In most English-speaking cultures, good eye contact shows confidence and honesty. However, you don't need to stare. Look at the interviewer when they're speaking and when you're answering questions. It's okay to look away briefly when you're thinking. For personal space, a firm handshake and maintaining about arm's length distance is typically appropriate. The balance of confidence and humility. This can be tricky for learners from cultures that emphasize humility. In English-speaking interview culture, you need to be able to talk about your achievements confidently without sounding arrogant. Instead of, I'm not very good at this, try, I'm developing my skills in this area. Instead of, I'm the best at everything, try, I'm particularly strong at and I'm always working to improve. Questions are expected. In many cultures, asking questions might seem disrespectful, but in English-speaking interview culture, not asking questions can actually hurt you. It might seem like you're not really interested in the job. Always prepare 2 or 3 thoughtful questions to ask at the end of the interview. Advanced strategies for interview success.
Now that we've covered the basics, let's talk about some advanced strategies that will really make you stand out in a positive way. The STAR method. This is a fantastic technique for answering behavioral questions. Questions that start with phrases like, tell me about a time you had to work with a difficult colleague, or give me an example of... STAR stands for situation, describe the context, task, explain what you needed to do, action, detail what you did, result, share the outcome. Here's an example. Question, tell me about a time you had to work with a difficult colleague. STAR, answer. Situation. In my previous job, I worked with a colleague who often missed deadlines, which affected our team's projects. Task, I needed to find a way to work with him effectively without creating conflict. Action, I started scheduling brief weekly check-ins with him to discuss upcoming deadlines and offer support if he needed it. I also volunteered to help with tasks that were causing delays. Result, our collaboration improved significantly, and we completed our next 3 projects on time. Storytelling for impact. People remember stories much better than facts. When possible, turn your achievements into mini stories. Instead of just saying, I improved customer satisfaction. Tell the story of how you did it and why it mattered. Research strategy. Before any interview, spend at least 30 minutes researching the company. Look at their website, read recent news about them, understand their products or services. This shows genuine interest and helps you ask better questions. Follow-up excellence. After the interview, always send a thank you email within 24 hours. Keep it short and professional. Dear blank, thank you for taking the time to interview me yesterday for the blank position role. I enjoyed learning more about blank. I'm very excited about the opportunity to contribute to blank and look forward to hearing about next steps. Best regards, blank. Encouragement and mindset. You know what? I want to take a moment here to talk directly to you. Yes, you, the person listening to this episode of the English Podcast Classroom right now. First, I want you to know how incredibly brave you are. Learning a language as an adult is not easy. Putting yourself out there for job interviews in a second language, that takes real courage. I want you to be proud of yourself for even trying. I've been teaching English for many years, and I've seen thousands of learners grow from feeling uncertain and nervous to becoming confident, successful professionals. And you know what the difference was? It wasn't perfect grammar. It wasn't a huge vocabulary. It was persistence and self-belief. Every single successful professional who speaks English as a second language has been exactly where you are right now. They've felt nervous about interviews, they've worried about making mistakes, they've wondered if their English was good enough, and they kept going anyway. Your English is better than you think. One thing I notice with my students is that they often underestimate their own abilities. You probably understand much more English than you give yourself credit for. You're listening to this podcast right now and understanding complex ideas. That's proof that your English is already quite good. Mistakes are learning opportunities. I want to change how you think about mistakes. In your native language, do you sometimes say things in a way that's not quite perfect? Of course you do. Everyone does. The same is true in English. If you make a small grammar mistake in an interview, it's not the end of the world. What matters is that you communicate your ideas clearly and show your personality and qualifications. You bring unique value. Here's something beautiful about being a non-native English speaker in the job market. You bring perspectives and skills that monolingual people don't have. You understand different cultures, you're adaptable. You've already proven you can learn complex new skills by learning English. These are incredibly valuable qualities. Progress, not perfection. Remember, the goal isn't to sound exactly like a native speaker. The goal is to communicate effectively and show who you are as a professional. Some of the most successful people I know speak English with accents, occasionally make grammar mistakes, and still lead teams, run companies, and achieve amazing things. Your journey is unique. Don't compare your English to other people's English. Everyone's language learning journey is different. Some people are naturally confident speakers but struggle with writing. Others understand everything but feel shy about speaking.
Some learn quickly, others take more time. All of these paths are completely normal and valid. What matters is that you keep moving forward, keep practicing, and keep believing in yourself. Building long-term confidence. Here's my challenge for you. After you listen to this episode, I want you to do one small thing every day to build your interview English. It could be practicing one answer to a common interview question, learning 3 new professional vocabulary words, recording yourself speaking for 2 minutes, reading 1 article about your industry in English, watching 1 interview tips video. Small, consistent actions build big results over time. Common mistakes to avoid. Let me share some common mistakes I see English learners make in job interviews so you can avoid them. Mistake 1, apologizing too much. Don't start every answer with, "Sorry, my English isn't very good," or "I'm sorry if this doesn't make sense." This immediately puts doubt in the interviewer's mind. Instead, speak with confidence about what you can do. Mistake 2, memorizing answers too rigidly. While it's good to prepare, don't memorize answers word for word like a script. If you forget one word, you might panic and lose your train of thought. Instead, prepare key points and practice explaining them naturally. Mistake 3, being too modest. In many cultures, it's considered impolite to talk about your achievements. But in job interviews, you need to advocate for yourself. It's expected and appropriate to discuss your successes confidently. Mistake 4, not asking questions. Some candidates think that asking questions shows they don't understand the job. Actually, asking thoughtful questions shows you're engaged and serious about the opportunity. Mistake 5, focusing only on grammar. While grammar is important, focusing too much on perfect grammar can make you sound stiff and unnatural. Focus on clear communication and let your personality show through. Recap and action steps. Wow, we've covered so much ground today in the English podcast classroom. Let me quickly recap the most important points from today's episode. Key takeaways. Interviews are conversations. Prepare, but stay natural and authentic. Use the STAR method for behavioral questions. Practice your 60-second self-introduction until it feels comfortable. Research the company and prepare thoughtful questions. Slow down, breathe, and remember that confidence comes from preparation. Your unique background and perspective are valuable assets. Your action plan. This week, I want you to choose 3 phrases from today's episode and practice using them in sentences. Research one company you'd like to work for and write down 3 questions you'd ask in an interview. Practice your self-introduction out loud at least once every day. Record yourself answering 1 interview question. Remember, every expert was once a beginner. Your English is better than you think. Preparation builds confidence. Authenticity is more important than perfection. You have unique value to offer. Conclusion. As we wrap up today's episode, I want to leave you with this thought. Every job interview is practice for the next one. Even if one interview doesn't go perfectly, you're building skills and confidence for the future. I believe in you. I believe in your ability to learn, to grow, and to achieve your professional goals using English. The fact that you're here, listening to this podcast, working on improving your skills, that tells me everything I need to know about your dedication and determination. Before you go, I have a small favor to ask. If this episode helped you feel more confident about job interviews in English, would you consider subscribing to the English Podcast Classroom? And if you know someone else who's learning English and looking for work, please share this episode with them. We're all in this English learning journey together. Also, I'd love to hear from you. If you use any of the tips from today's episode in a real job interview, send me a message and let me know how it went. Your success stories inspire other learners, and they absolutely make my day. Next week, we're going to talk about English for professional presentations, another topic that can really boost your career. You won't want to miss it. Until then, keep practicing, keep believing in yourself, and remember, you've got this. Your dream job is out there waiting for you, and with the English skills you're building, you're going to be ready for it. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. This is the English Podcast Classroom, and I'll see you next week.